Here we have Untamed Love, #1, from Fantagraphic Books, which reprints Frank Frazetta's classic romance tales. And the first story is called Too Late for Love. And right from the beginning of the story, you get this amazing art. Look at the voluptuousness of Frank Frazetta's woman, the figure, the way she's turned, and of course you have his signature right there. And right from the beginning, we have the story of a scheming secretary trying to win her boss away from the wife. Now I'll be near him all the time. Now is my chance to make him fall in love with me. I should be in his arms, not her. Look at the look on her face. So the secretary invades every part of their life. She goes to their parties, but look at the gorgeous art here. She seems pretty sure of him, but she'll find out. This woman is very scheming. Look at the look on her face here. Why did she have to come out when Tom was just about to say something? If I could just be alone with him. She changes from this outfit into a swimsuit. Look at the way she's standing here. The art in this is just beautiful. That was the first story from Untamed Love, and I actually can't wait to read the rest of this comic. Next, we're going to look at Ghosts #84 from 1980. Keep away, you all have the same face as the man I murdered. Is there no end to the fear of the torment of the phantom face? So the signature on the cover says TLD. Now, the first story starts with a doctor telling a story of how, under truth serum, his patient confessed to murdering. And then the doctor goes ahead and tells the story. So this is a revenge tale where an understudy or an assistant is going to steal a job. The screenwriter becomes insanely jealous. He kills him, making it look like a robbery. But from that moment on, he sees his victim's face everywhere. Everywhere he goes, the face is popping up. Now, he does some clever things in the story to try to get away from him, like wearing a disguise. But the final thing that he does is he has a doctor do plastic surgery in order to change his face in hopes that his victim won't recognize him. We will come back to that. But along the way, it's pretty funny, the reactions of the people around him. A lady on the street calls him a madman. Another woman calls him a drunken fool. He's mad, stark raving mad. Every time one of these came up, I started chuckling. In the end, the murderer commits suicide because he can't stand to look at his victim's face on his own body for the rest of his life. But the end actually is really nice. The doctor states, was it guilt for the murder of Clay Jeffers that caused Walter Cole to choose subconsciously the features of his victim? Or did some ghostly hand guide mine as the scalpel reshaped his face? So overall, this was a really fun ghost story. This is just one of a bunch of stories in this collection. Next, we have an issue of Dick Tracy. This was actually sent to me by Donald Rex a long time ago, and I've been meaning to read them. I went ahead and read the first story in this collection. Man, did I have fun with this. This was a great story. So this villain is called The Brow, and the story is very convoluted, which is part of the fun. It's just action scene after action scene. So here we have The Brow. He escapes. They think through there, but that's not how he gets away. He's bleeding. He hides in a coffin. Now, this was an interesting part of the story because the reason the coffin is there is it's made of plastic, and they were going to do a water damage test, and they were going to submerge it in water for 10 days. And I was actually concerned because the Brow was inside of it. But of course, he gets out, but he still hides from them by submerging in the pool with a hose and a weight. I thought that was fun. The whole time they're talking, he's hiding, and then after they close, he gets out. This is just one part of the action in the story. There's so much. The Brow wants revenge on these two women for turning him in. So he's chasing them, and he knocks them off of a bridge. And after he does this, he's straddled between the two cars, and he pulls the the steering wheel and forces him off the bridge. And as soon as it's done, he says, "Let's go somewhere and get a steak." We have this very cruel scene. We watch these two women as the car fills up with water until they finally drown. And here they are after they're dead. They don't pull any punches in this comic. In another scene, a gangster knocks this woman over the head. And I love this art right here. Look at this. The art throughout this is very cartoony, but really beautiful. So that is the end of part 1. They are still on the hunt for the brow. So I've been meaning to do a review of this book for a while. This is the first book that I got from Donald Rex, and I've got the second one today. That gave me the incentive to go ahead and at least read the first story and review it for you. This volume is called Creepy Cool, the Charlton Romance Comic Book Stories of Enrique Nieto. And look at this gorgeous cover. Look at the back. That's from the Dick Tracy comic. We have the first story, which is called The Shadow of a Star. And this is a story about two actors, and then a famous movie star comes to their troupe, and she takes over her man. Here she is for the first time. But notice the gorgeous backgrounds in a lot of these panels. And this scene is hilarious. When she shows up in the middle of their lines, he drops his girlfriend, and she goes thudding onto the floor as he races over to see the actress. But look at her hair here. This is beautifully done. Look at the backgrounds here. But she's a real actress, and she studies the woman, and she mimics her to the point where she can do everything exactly like the actress. Look at this background. So she wins back her man, and I'm not sure of the message of this story because she does everything in her power to change herself to become someone else, someone she's not, in order to win a man. And then he says he's no good at acting, so he's going to stay at the farm, and she's going to join him. So her acting career isn't going to matter. But look at this gorgeous panel. You can see how very 60s this is. It's just the colors, the composition, everything screams 60s. And yeah, that final panel is just gorgeous. Finally, we're going to look at this book that arrived today. So this is his second book that he's done. Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez, Charlton Romance Comic Book Stories. Look at this beautiful volume. We're going to be reading the first story from I Love You, which is number 80, a 12-center. And I've read a bunch of Charlton comics that are about race drivers. It seems to be a common plot, but I ended up really enjoying this. There's an American brother and his best friend from England, and she falls in love. The story, the plot is basic, it's serviceable, but then you get this beautiful art and layout. Look at this gorgeous panel. Very simple, but so well drawn. This is through their courtship. He says, "You're such a shameless wench, my love. Nancy, my pet, you're the loveliest. I've always heard the English were cold-blooded, darling, but they're wrong. You'd bring a statue to life, darling." Really pretty, if not dramatic. And then we get the inevitable crash. One of them crashes. Look at this gorgeous art. Beautiful image of her face as she's weeping. We've got the inevitable hospital scene. But what brings us to life is really the gorgeous drawings here. The conflict is resolved, and they get married on the spot in the hospital room. All's well that ends well. Now this is funny because the next comic is called Just Married. You also snore, darling. And then we have juxtaposed the splash page. You also snore, darling. So there you have the first story from Jose Luis Garcia-Lopez's collection. So I really want to thank Donald Rex because this is just a wealth of amazing comic book art and stories. I genuinely enjoyed all of them for different reasons. I just want to say thank you for doing not only his creative work on these two books, all the time and effort that went into making these two books, but also to sending me some really interesting comic books as well. Don't forget to go ahead and sub to Donald Rex if you haven't already. Any comments that you make will be greatly appreciated, and I want to thank you as always for the support.